Whoa! The Miami Hurricanes are down a quarterback. Jake Garcia just hit the portal. What's next?
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, your host, and thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen each and every day and your first watch. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. So second straight day, we have a breaking news episode of Locked On Canes. Jake Garcia, former Miami Hurricanes backup quarterback, did start one game last year, got that overtime victory against Virginia last October. He's entering the transfer portal, okay? He's got 3 years of eligibility left. Jake Garcia, former California kid, played his senior season of high school in Georgia, was originally a USC Trojans commit, flipped his commitment to Miami. According to Pete Thamel of ESPN, Garcia is entering the portal. We are just one day before the deadline to enter the portal. Very important. January 18th is the deadline to get in. It's not the deadline to pick a destination. So Jake does not have until tomorrow to decide where he's going to be playing football for the next 3 years. Remember, 3 years of eligibility left. He just has to enter the portal by tomorrow. It looks like he intends to enter by the end of today, January 17th. So Garcia has been a member of the Miami Hurricanes football team since 2021, played a few reps in that 2021 season, but officially redshirted that year, 11 of 14 that first season. I think he only played in the Central Connecticut game where he played well, against inferior opposition in that game, but played very well. He's had some really good springs for Miami. Like every spring game, Jake Garcia has looked like a stud. He was 11 for 14. For 147 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in 2021, which ended up being a redshirt year. Played a lot more this past season. Didn't play that well. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. 68 of 114, I should say, for 803 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions this past year. Again, he made several appearances as a backup. He did start that game against Virginia. It was ugly, but he did score the game-winning 2-point conversion in quadruple overtime to get Miami the win. So this is really interesting because obviously Garcia waited a long time. The portal has been open since early December. I was under the impression that Garcia would be staying at Miami at least through the spring. There would have been another opportunity for him to enter the portal in May. There's a 15-day long window in May. I thought at this point he was going to stick it out, go through spring football. That's what we've been hearing. But no, Garcia's going to be entering the portal now. So in the case of Miami at starting quarterback, we know who the man is going to be heading into next year. It's likely going to be Tyler Van Dyke. Now, there were times last season when true freshman Jacurri Brown was looking better at times than Jake Garcia. Jacurri won a start last season against Georgia Tech and played very well in that game, but he showed a lot of signs of being a true freshman quarterback, which Jacurri was. But with Jake Garcia's departure, guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This leaves Miami now very thin with scholarship quarterbacks. I think Miami's got to try to find somebody in the portal now. Quarterback has not been a priority in the transfer portal up to this point, which tells me I think Miami was expecting Garcia to stay because even though he was far from guaranteed a starting position down here, he would really have to, rock our socks off in spring and in fall to have been the starter in Miami. It seemed like he was planning on staying at Miami for the foreseeable future. But now him entering the portal, quarterback has not been a priority for Miami in the portal. You might start having to kick the tires on some veteran depth. You're probably not going to get, a stud who's going to beat out Tyler Van Dyke, but I think you have to look for some veteran depth now at quarterback because you got Tyler Van Dyke, who's going to be your starter this coming year, but he had some health struggles last season with the shoulder, was not healthy for much of the year. The pass protection is going to be much improved, so they should be keeping Van Dyke's jersey cleaner next season than they did this past season. And then beyond Van Dyke, Jacurri Brown looks to be your backup now, very much ahead as a runner versus as a passer. Jacurri, and we don't know who the quarterback's coach is right now. We'll get to that in a second. But Jacurri Brown, a very good running quarterback, showed some signs last year. Doesn't look like a finished product yet. And then next down the list of scholarship quarterbacks is Emory Williams, the true freshman coming in, who I think has a very bright future, but I don't know if he's going to be ready to significantly contribute as a true freshman. You would prefer to redshirt him. So then the other thing is Garcia decides to enter the portal on Tuesday. Frank Ponce, the quarterback's coach, his position coach, just left Miami on Monday to retake the offensive coordinator job at Appalachian State. Are these two things connected? Gosh, the timing is obviously, it makes you feel like it's connected. Like, oh, the quarterback's coach leaves on Monday and then one of his quarterbacks leaves on Tuesday. But guys, I don't know. I don't think this is connected because Frank Ponce didn't recruit Jake Garcia. I don't feel like Frank really, I think he's well liked as a human being. I didn't see him have like some great resounding success, working with any of the quarterbacks last year. So I don't really see why Garcia would have any major attachment to Frank Ponce. I feel like the timing is probably coincidental. And also, I wish Jake Garcia all the best because honestly, I think this move is the best thing for him because it would have taken a lot for him to ever earn a starting job at Miami. Because he's got the roadblock of Tyler Van Dyke in his way this year. And then, in the future, that could very well be Jacurri Brown's job or Emory Williams' job in a couple of years. So there was not a clear path to starting. And according to the Pete Thamel report, that's something Garcia is looking for. He's looking to enroll somewhere in time for spring football. He wants to go through spring at the program of his choice, and he wants to be able to compete for a starting job. So he probably felt like that was an unlikely thing to happen here in Miami. So I think the Frank Ponce timing is it's coincidental. If you told me a month and a half ago that Garcia was going to leave through the portal, I would not have been surprised whatsoever. But at this point, getting all the way to January 17th, yeah, I was surprised because he made it this long through the portal window. I thought he would have left way earlier than he did. So, Jake Garcia, let's wish him the best. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is there a veteran quarterback in the transfer portal you'd like to go after who you think would be willing to come here to either be a backup or even compete with Tyler Van Dyke? Let us know in the comments. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.